Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapyat Sarvam, Trilokyam Sacharacharam, Tat Padam Darshitam Yena, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata cha Pita, Tvameva, Tvameva Bandhu cha Sakha, Tvameva, Tvameva Vidya Dravidam, Tvameva, Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Jai Guru. I forgot to tell you they're going to turn the water off at 11. So if you want to get some water or use the loo, now is your last chance. Okay. So let's review learning our Shanti mantra for this Upanishad. So I will do go through it line by line, chant it first, and then you repeat it after me. Om Bhadram Karne Vishnuyama Devaha. Together. Om Bhadram Karne Vishnuyama Devaha. Bhadram Pashye Makshabhirya Jatraha. Bhadram Pashye Makshabhirya Jatraha. Stirairangaistushtvagum sastanubihi. Stirairangaistushtvagum sastanubihi. Vyashema devahitam yadayuhu. Vyashema devahitam yadayuhu. Swastina indro vridhashravaha. Swastina indro vridhashravaha. Swastina Pusha Vishwavedaha. Swastina Pusha Vishwavedaha. Swastina Starksho Arishdanemihi. Swastina Starksho Arishdanemihi. Swastino Brihaspatir Dadatu. Swastino Brihaspatir Dadatu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Pretty good. Now, I want to share something with you. If I say the arithmetic problem, 2 plus 2 is equal to 5, that's incorrect. Is that right? Yeah. If I go 2 plus 2 is equal to 5, is it more correct? Don't whisper the mantra. If you're going to make a mistake, make a good one. Chant out all the way. Good lesson in life, by the way. All right, so we are now, do we have any new people online?
No, nobody knew.
Okay, so I think everyone except Kirsten was here last week, were they not? I don't think we need to review. So let's start with the 9th mantra.
All right. Indrastvam pranatejasa rudrosi parirakshita tvam antarikshe charasi suryastvam jyotisham patihi. O Prana, thou art the Lord Indra of all energy. Thou art Rudra in your destructive brilliance, and the protector on all sides in your mild form. Thou movest in the sky, thou art the sun, the Lord of all life.
Did you have something to say?
Yeah, that's not the, we're on page 58. So it's, I don't think that's the right mantra.
I don't think
Thank
right
you.
chapter.
Sorry. Okay, I'll go back. There's 2 8s, so I got confused. Is it the Vishwarupam?
It's the one before that. Or after that, sorry.
After that, yeah.
Okay. Samvatsaro Vai, that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, guys. All right, I'll do it again. Okay. Samvatsaro Vai Prajapatis Tasyayane Dakshinam Chottaram Cha Tadyeha Vai Tad Ishta Purte Kritam Ityupasate Te Chandramasam Eva Lokam Abhijayante Ta eva punar avartante tasmad eta rishaya prajakama dakshinam pratipadyante esha ha vai rayiryaha pitrayanaha. The year is indeed Prajapati, and there are 2 paths, the southern and northern. Those who follow the path of karma alone, by the performance of sacrificial and pious acts, obtain only the world of the moon, and they do return again. Therefore, those sages who desire offspring take the southern route. The matter, Rai, is verily the path of the forefathers.
So we have this discussion that occurs in Gita. We have the primary source of it here, of these 2 paths. The paths of the first 6 months of the year, with the ascendance of the light, the path of the sun, and the path of the second 6 months of the year, with the descending light, the path of the moon, of the smoke. This is all metaphor. So the path of the moon, the second half, are those people who approach life with the idea, I'll be happy when, it'll be better if, I want a good life as a human being, I want to get married, I want to have children, I want to get a good job, I want to be successful in the world. No blame. What happens to those people when they die? The physical body drops away. The grosser parts of the subtle body drop away. And then they remain either in a punyaloka or papaloka, fulfilling out the remaining merits and demerits, and then they are again impelled into Manushya Loka. Manusha means a person. Manusha, it's actually where we get the English word man. But a Manusha comes from the root manas, which is mind. So it is the mind that's doing all this impelling. Now, we contrasted, did we do the first 6 months last week? I can't remember. No, okay. That will probably come next. But I'll just, since we're talking about it, I'll tell you what happens. So the first 6 months symbolizes those people who aspire to moksha, the liberation. So they, again, accrue punya, they do what they can to expiate papam, but they have liberation as their goal. Now, what happens to them? Depending on how well they advance in their unfoldment. In Gita, Krishna will say, don't worry. You'll be born again into a family of pure people and you'll be united with your yoga. You will attain moksha very quickly. What this scripture will say is, you don't even have to do that. You will go to Brahmaloka, a heaven-like realm, and then at the end of the age, you are liberated. So you are freed from rebirth. Now listen carefully. Don't worry about when and where you die. Some people get all hung up on that. Oh, my auntie, she died in the second half of the year. She's got to come back. Swamiji died in August, second half of the year. He was fully liberated. Don't worry about it. These are allegorical. They're symbolic. What they have to do is they point to the two kinds of people in the world. The bhogis, who practice bhoga or enjoyment, where the goal of their lives are cash and prizes. Or yogis, where the goal of their life is union with the infinite. Now, truth is, most of us here have some of both. So we keep working on it. All right, next mantra.
अतोत्तरेण तपसा ब्रह्मचार्येण श्रद्धया विद्ययात्मानम् अन्विष्यादित्यम् अभिजयन्ते एतद्वै प्राणानाम् आयतनम् एतद् अमृतम् अभयम् एतत् परायणम् एतस्मान्न पुनरावर्तन्त इत्येष निरोधः तदेष श्लोकः. Then those who have sought the Atman by penance, celibacy, faith, and knowledge gain the sun traveling through the northern route. This is the home, the goal of all living creatures, the immortal, the fearless. This is the highest goal. From there,
I'm sorry, go on.
One more sentence. From there, they do not return, for this is the end. For this, there is a mantra.
Yes. So the idea here is this is the goal of the human life. Now, Swamiji always used to say it's an evolution, not a revolution. It does no good to beat ourselves up because we still have a heart full of desires. Which is more beautiful, the bud or the bloom? The bud is a beautiful bud. It's just not yet a bloom. And if you see a rose bud, you can't start pulling at its petals to make it into a bloom. So in time, any incarnations, we begin to develop mumukshutva, the desire to be free. How do we develop these qualities? So it was Shraddha, Brahmacharya. What was the third one, Amini?
Shraddha, Brahmacharyena, Tapas.
And tapas, yes.
Yep.
So austerity.
Oh, and knowledge. The last
And
one.
knowledge. So these four things, what do they mean to us? So first of all, the root cause of liberation is sadhu sangha, association with the wise. When we have the great punya, the great merit, to be able to have a relationship with a woman or a man of wisdom who knows what they're talking about, then it starts to happen very quickly. And so we need to do tapas. Tapas actually literally means heat. We engage in the process of moving the mind from its habituated, extroverted directions into more introverted, directed towards the self. How do we do it? Never through willpower alone. Won't work. We develop the capacity to do tapas through insight. When I finally see that the way I've been living my life causes me pain, I give it up. So I was talking with my stepsister this morning, and she is mildly, but definitely gluten sensitive. Her daughter, in fact, is celiac. So what she's saying is when she eats gluten, she gets a bellyache, she gets sick. Now, she used to love bread and pasta and donuts and all that sort of stuff. Never really knew why she felt the way she did. But now that she's been gluten-free, if she fudges on her food plan, has a bunch of French bread with white flour in it, she suffers. But she knows the cause and effect, which develops the capacity to say, no, I'm not going to have wheat flour. I'll make something with almond flour. It's gluten-free. So do you see what happens? It's the insight into the cause that gives us the yoga balam, the strength, the power of yoga to give something up. So the alcoholic, when they finally realize that the problem with their life, problem with relationship, with work, with money, etc., has alcoholism as its cause, they develop the desire to be free from the desire to drink. We can go through all sorts of things in life. So real vairagya comes as a result of insight. What does it feel like to want something you don't have? It hurts. Has three forms. Raga, I want it. Dvesham, I want to get rid of something. Or bhaya, fear. I have what I want, but I'm afraid I'm going to lose it. Now let's set physical suffering aside for a moment. Can you find any other kind of suffering other than this kama, this craving, this spriha, this longing, this vancha, this want? If we're honest, nope, that's it. It is the longing itself that's so painful. The more I want it, the further away the object of desire is, the more painful the situation. In my spiritual ignorance, I think getting what I want will make me happy. Takes many lifetimes to see getting what you want just gets you what you want, if you're lucky. And whatever satisfaction you get is short-lived and temporary. And it's like feeding a fire with fuel. It just makes it grow more. I love what Swamiji used to say. If sex were satisfying, we'd only do it once.
I don't get it.
The more we get, the more we want. Keeps growing and growing and growing. Which leads us into brahmacharya. Here translated as celibacy. Chastity. Staying within the appropriate bounds of the relationship you have. What it literally means, charity means to roam around. So the literal meaning of brahmacharya, the deepest meaning is to roam around in Brahman. So we are healed more by what we turn to rather than turn from. So in the Hebrew scriptures, what is the first and greatest commandment? Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and soul and mind and strength. And the world will leave you in time. Tapas, brahmacharya, shraddha, having faith in the path itself. Because the world gives us exactly the opposite message. The world says more, better, different, more, better, different, more, better, different. So many of you kids who are working in IT, it's so sad to me. Starting from the 30s on, one of the things labor unions worked very hard to do was establish the 40-hour work week. Now, if you work in IT, yeah, you make a lot of money, but they don't expect you to work 40 hours. They expect you to work 60 hours. And I know so many young people now who are so fatigued and stressed because they may have a high standard of living, but not much of a quality of life. So yoga says simplify. It takes time, space to do yoga. Live a life where you reduce the number of desires entertained. That's a message that's completely opposite to the materialistic world. We have faith that this works. And then knowledge, vidya. We start with indirect knowledge, paroksha jnana, that impels us in abhyas practice, which culminates in direct. So this is the method for the path of the first 6 months of the year, the path of the sun, the path of the light, that ultimately leads us to liberation. Any thoughts on this?
Actually, Jim, I have a question.
Please.
Just based on what you were saying, right? So I almost see two extremes, right? There's the yogi and then the bhogi. So I know a lot of people who sometimes they will live very minimally, but they have a lot of suppressed desire, and you can tell because they feel bitter. And then I also see obviously the other side where if you live like a bhogi, it doesn't really have satisfaction. How do you like, I guess, strike the balance between suppressing, like not suppressing a desire, but also like not living like a bhogi? Like, how do you find the balance?
Through insight. And the insight again is when I see what my craving is causing me. So you're a married woman.
Yes.
Many people, when they start a marriage, they think, for example, that they can fix and change their spouse.
Right.
How long have you been married now?
Almost 3 years.
Yeah. Have you given that one up yet?
Yep. That's useless. Yeah.
Why did you give it up?
Because it doesn't work. It just causes a bunch of
Yes.
suffering. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah.
You're not suppressing.
Right.
You know, when you try to fix or change your husband, all it does is annoy him and frustrate you.
Right.
Very clear worldly example.
Right. So it's almost through like not suppressing it that you realize
It
that you
is through,
actually get to renouncing it. Yeah.
and one of the things I remember this so vividly, Swamiji used to say, "Go after the world," and then he would laugh diabolically. And he would say, "Let it drop you again and again. Let it kick you in the teeth. It's the only way to kill the ego."
Hmm.
So when we get sick and tired of being beaten up by our compulsion to control, to demand, then we can begin through insight to let go.
Right.
Very good question.
Thank you.
Suppression doesn't work. In Gita, Krishna says the person who gets rid of their objects of desire but allows the desire to remain behind is verily a hypocrite. But their desire leaves them upon seeing the Supreme. The more I do practice, the more I begin to enjoy the spiritual life. And the other stuff starts to fall away naturally. Now again, path of the sun, path of the moon, those are extremes. Most of us are in the middle. But what the Upanishad is giving us is a direction to aim toward. All right, very good stuff. Any other thoughts or questions on this point?
Yeah, so I guess not everyone's lucky to stumble upon these teachings or texts, and as far as getting the right insight, you kind of have to be lucky to get that right. Otherwise, I have a lot of friends who want to heal their traumas, but they're stuck in the causation hunting loop.
It's not luck, it's karma. Meaning it's a matter of this spiritual unfoldment, which happens through lifetimes. We get the inevitable results of the choices and the actions. And if we're in a place where the mind is still covered by layers and layers and layers of ignorance, even though Krishna himself were with us, we couldn't see it, we couldn't know it, we're not open to it. If, on the other hand, through many lives lived intelligently, the mind is subtle enough, sukshma chitta, subtle mind. The student is ready, the teacher appears. Is that a little clearer?
Yeah.
It's not luck. There is no luck. There's the inevitable result of the force of our past actions. God's grace. Well, what about God's grace? We invoke God's grace. Our own purushartha, our own efforts. Very good question. All right, next mantra. I think you're muted.
Yes, I am. Sorry. Panchapadam Pitaram Shakritim Diva Ahuhu Pare Arde Purishinam Ateme Anya Upare Vichakshanam Sapta Chakre Shadara Ahur Arpitam Iti. The sages say that Lord of Rain, the Father, having 5 feet and 12 forms, is seated in a place higher than the atmosphere. Others call him the All-Wise, the one upon whom, like a chariot drawn by 7 horses mounted and running on a wheel with 6 spokes, the whole world is founded.
So it's Sapta Chakra. I don't know why Swamiji translates this as horses. It's 7 wheels. Doesn't it say Sapta Chakra?
Sapta, yeah, it does. Sapta Chakra.
Yes, yes. So the first part of this verse refers to, we've talked about how this wedding of energy and matter creates space. Now we talk about the 5 feet. I don't know why they chose 5, but it means the movement of time. How the sun moves through the cycles of the year. So today in India, unlike in the West, where we have 4 seasons, spring, summer, fall, winter, in India, There's 6. So you've got spring, summer, monsoon, fall, pre-winter, and winter. And in most parts of India, we talk about the 6. Maybe back at the end of the Ice Age, I don't know, they talked about 5. But the idea here, it is the movement of time. So this wedding of matter and energy creates space and creates time. Now, our astrophysicists talk about, this is hard for me to understand. I have the mind of a musician, not the mind of a physicist. The space-time continuum, that they're all linked. Faster a body goes, time changes. For me, the better way to see it, you are the god of your dream. You have mini Maya. You have mini Prajapati in your dream. From the outside, say Kirsten is lying on the couch and she's asleep. If we looked and saw her eyeballs moving underneath her eyelids, oh, she's having a dream. That's REM, rapid eye movement. Inside, you could have this whole story taking place. Have you had a dream recently? What did you dream?
I had a dream that I was riding on a BART with my friends.
Speak louder.
I was riding on a BART train with my friends.
Aha! So you got inside the BART train. Was it in the tunnel or outside? Where?
It was outside.
Yeah, so you can see the world outside, and the BART was moving through time and space. Now, when you look at someone from the outside, most dreams last a minute, minute and a half at the most. But I bet inside your dream it lasted a lot longer.
Mm-hmm.
So our minds can create time and space. So Prajapati, the creator, with this wedding of prana, raincha, creates time and space. Now, my interpretation of this is it's a reference to the Sapta Chakra, the 7 energy centers in the body, which are ways in which prana moves through this connection actually between the physical body and the subtle body. So let's quickly review what they are and what they govern. Later on in the 3rd question, we'll go more deeply into the movement of prana in the body. So the first chakra, by the way, for the Westerners, it's not chakras, it's chakra. It means a wheel. And they have 6 spokes, which has to do with the way how the energy moves. But the first chakra is Muladhara, usually termed the root chakra. located at the base of the spine. Energetically, you will feel it in front of the anus, behind the genitals. And each of these chakras governs part of our entire attitude, feeling, energy in the phenomenal world. So the root chakra, the Muladhara, rules survival. So people who their energy is locked up in the root chakra are constantly concerned about food, clothing, and shelter. They'll have a compulsive fear of financial insecurity. They're always going to be worried about how they're going to be taken care of. When the energy is flowing freely through the Muladhara, the root chakra, you have a sense that's all going to work out. Each of these chakras has what we call a bija mantra. So you can focus your attention on that particular chakra and chant the bija mantra. The bija mantra for Muladhara is Lam. La Lam. 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 This is the grossest, the root chakra of all our manifestation. Any thoughts on this?
Bija means seed, right?
Yeah, it's a seed mantra. The word doesn't mean anything. It's just the seed sound. Second chakra is Swadhisthana in Sanskrit. So this is the genital organs. This is where our sexuality, our sensuality, our pleasure centers are. Element is earth. For the second chakra, it's water. Pee out of it. And this again is where we get our sensuality, our sexuality. Many people think, oh, this is love, when all it is just lust. And its bija mantra is Vam, Vam, Vam. People whose energy is completely gathered only in the second chakra are people who are sexual compulsives. We may know people like that. We may have gone through stages in our lives where being sexual compulsives. The third chakra, Manipuraka, the navel, solar plexus. This is where we were connected to our mummies in the womb, through the placenta, through the umbilical cord. And this chakra has to do, this is our psychic center. This has to do with our connection with people. So, for example, oftentimes when you see people and they're going like this, you ever see people do that? They'll cross their legs and cross their arms over. They're blocking off lower chakras and the third chakra. You'll see. Protecting that energy. Protecting that energy. Or people who are old. So if we have a lot of difficulty or fear about connection, in the world. That's when the energy in the solar plexus gets blocked. This, by the way, is our connection and attachment to people. The vast majority of human beings never move energy above these three chakras. So when I'm in a relationship and it's about need, when I use the word love, and what it's about is getting something from another person, third chakra. Third chakra. Fourth chakra, anahata, sometimes also called hridaya, is the heart center. Oh, by the way, lam vam ram, third chakra, the bija mantra is ram. Fourth chakra, heart center, anahata, is the first chakra that begins to open with spiritual awareness, spiritual energy. This is our love center, but it's the kind of love which wishes the well-being of the other and has no neediness in it. It's what in Greek, the Christian tradition, we would call agape. So if you have the desire to help others, to give charitably into the world, not for, I want people to like me, or I want my name in a program or something like that. That's still third chakra. This is where we get the first real feeling of giving into the world, where we're beginning to feel connected to other people spiritually, not just from the standpoint of neediness, approval, dependence, etc. Its bija mantra is yum, yum, yum. Any thoughts on this? Fifth chakra in the throat. Vishuddha chakra. Literally, where we purify. So the throat chakra governs creativity and expression. How many of you have ever been choked up at a deeply emotional thing? Or people who have a hard time expressing their feelings, telling the truth to other people, all sorts of throat issues. Its bija mantra is hum, hum, hum. H-A-M, hum. Governs creativity and gender. So, for example, like Amini, people who sing have to learn to open that particular energy center. So Amini and I have had discussions how when you finally learn to be singing correctly, it's really easy. All the stress and energy and forcing and pushing starts to drop away. Remember that conversation, Amini?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's with all of our creativity in life. When this chakra is open, our creativity expresses. It's part of our essential nature. Essential nature. again, its bija mantra is next center. Ajna literally means power. Call it the third eye, the jnana chakshu, the eye of wisdom. So its primary function is attention. It's your headlamp. What you pay attention to, you will think about. What you pay attention to repeatedly, you will think about repeatedly. Repeated thought becomes habituated thought. Habituated thought sinks into the unconscious and becomes the law of my life. This is where the whole idea of sankalpa is centered. What is a sankalpa? It is the process whereby a thought, wish, will, desire, intention manifests. Any sankalpa consistently maintained that isn't contradicted or conflicted tends towards grossification. It's how we accomplish things in the world. We conceive of the idea, and then we're single pointed. It also covers ideas of seeing the world as it really is. So in Hindu mythology, what happens when Lord Shiva opens his third eye?
Destruction.
Yes. Doesn't sound very nice, does it? What's the deeper meaning? When I see the world as it really is, sarvam kalvidam brahma, all this is verily God. Brahma satyam jagat mithya. Brahman alone is real. The names and the forms are illusory. Like a hologram, it's like a long dream. Doesn't mean we don't see the world or that all turns to ashes. It means we see the world as it really is. All this is implied in the jnana chakshu, the eye of wisdom, the ajna chakra. And its bija mantra, Om. You can focus your attention on the third eye. Chant Om. 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 And the seventh chakra, Sahasrara, 1,000-petal lotus. This is the seat of self-realization, of enlightenment, of liberation. Crown chakra opens. knowledge of the self dawns on the mind. Its bija mantra is silence. Now, I don't want to get too into this, but what's implied in this is the whole phenomenon of Kundalini. And again, we'll get into this a little more completely in some of the later mantras. But what happens if we're practicing Kundalini Yoga, which is another way of saying the Raja Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, this Kundalini energy, which is coiled in the Muladhara, moves up through the various chakras as we practice. Pranayama, learning to control this prana through control of the breath until the crown chakra opens. Now, in our tradition of Jnana Yoga, as you continue to do your self-inquiry, Viveka Vairagya Cha, hang with the question, Koham, who am I? What's my original nature? I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the thoughts, not the ego sense. And Chidakasha, the space of your awareness. In a sense, we open the crown chakra first. Rather than moving the Kundalini up, crown chakra opens. The knowledge filters down through the body. But there's no set way of saying how the energy is going to move. So some of you who've been practicing meditation may have begun to feel energy moving through the body. You may have felt warmth, heat, maybe even pain at times in one of these energy centers. Whole part of the process. We don't want to focus on that. I remember a student who says, "Oh, Jim, I'm beginning to feel buzzing in my third eye. Does that mean I'm advancing spiritually?" As a Vedantan, what do we say? Did it occur in time and space? Were you aware of it? No, that's not it. Don't stop it, but don't get hung up in it. Let it go. Just phenomenal. Okay, so here is a very quick run through of yoga's teaching on the Sapta Chakra, the 7 spiritual centers, where we have concentrations of the prana and the movement of them, how they govern parts of our psyche. Any thoughts about this? If you want to learn more on conscious use of the prana to open these awarenesses, I would recommend BKS Iyengar's book, Light on Pranayama. I think it's one of the best, unless you find a yoga teacher who can bring you through it. It is not my tradition. I can't help you with it. Amini, please read the English again. I'm having a senior moment on the rest of this mantra.
No worries. The sages say that Lord of Rain the Father, having 5 feet and 12 forms, is seated in a place higher than the atmosphere. Others call him the All-Wise, the one upon whom, like a chariot drawn by 7 horses, mounted and running on a wheel with 6 spokes, the whole world is founded.
Yes. So the idea is that this prana seated above the atmosphere, meaning it's not located just in the physical body, in the phenomenal world of the planet. And the prana is intelligent. It is the life force. Now, listen very carefully. The prana is intelligent, but it is not sentient. Let me repeat that. The prana is intelligent, but it is not sentient. So, a woman gets pregnant, and the ovum and the sperm merge, and the prana and the rain knows how to make a baby. First, it divides into 2, and then 4, and then 16 cells. And after a while, a heartbeat starts to develop, rudimentary nervous system. How do they know what to do? We'd say it's DNA. But the life force is intelligent. You go plant a seed. How does it know to sprout the plant? My orchids, some of them are beginning to bloom. That one I accidentally broke off, so I put it in the vase. How does it know when to bloom? Its ability to respond to light and temperature. Or how is it that light knows to travel at 186,000 miles per second, not 187? Or there's not, oh, this light's stupid, it's slow, only 184,000 miles per second. So this prana has inherent within it the intelligence of the universe. And if we look at the cosmos, Swamiji always used to say, it's not a chaos, it's a cosmos. It's incredibly intelligent and ordered. We have physical laws, we have metaphysical laws like karma. How does action and reaction know to happen? Listen carefully. The prana is intelligent but not sentient. You are sentience. Have you ever cut your finger and been amazed by the fact that the body knows how to heal that cut? Who's ever had that kind of idea? but you know that your finger's been cut. You know that the cells know to heal. The movement of prana is an object of awareness. So this Raim and prana together, the whole manifest universe, we can say the two together make up Prakriti, nature. But that's not the highest. It's not the highest. So again, all of the phenomenal world is made up of energy and matter. And then we had this brief reference to the Sapta Chakra. And those of us who are clairvoyant can see the chakras in another person's body. You can see them turn. You can see their colors. You can see if the energy is moving freely. And you yourself can get a sense of that in meditation, if you choose. All right, next mantra.
Maso vai Prajapatistasya Krishna Paksha eva Raihi Shukla Prana Tasmad Eta Rishayah Shukla Ishtam Kurvantitara Itarasmin. The month is Prajapati. Its dark half is verily the matter, its bright half the energy. Therefore, these great rishis perform sacrifices in the bright half of the month, but others perform them in the dark half.
So again, he's going back to this idea of the two ways in which we approach puja or yajna. And again, this can be about the work we do in the world. So for example, if you work in IT, you propitiate the information technology data. But it can also be if you, for example, we just had Shivaratri, if you're doing puja to propitiate Lord Shiva. So those who do their puja, their yajna, their sacrifices, in the idea of the second half of the year, of the time ruled by matter, by the moon, by smoke and dark, are still caught up in the notion. I'll be happy when, it'll be better if, more, better, different, give me more stuff, situations, seeking to satisfy desire. This builds more vasana, then we are impelled back into the world of matter, and we reincarnate. Whereas those who perform sacrifice for the purpose of the purification of my mind, all has to do with our intention. That will lead us on the path of the light and towards. So each one of the devas that we may worship, there's a lower nature and a higher nature. So, for example, Lakshmi, she's the goddess of wealth. You can do puja to Lakshmi to get lots of money. Or you can do puja to Lakshmi for the inner wealth. Shaksampati, Shamadi Guna, those qualities of head and heart, which lead us to becoming a fit student. Both are wealth. But how do you approach it? Do you pray to Lord Ganesh so you get a good grade on a test? So you get through obstacles at work? It's fine. Or do you pray to Lord Ganesh to remove your kleshas, your afflicting thoughts and feelings, to remove those doshas, those character defects, so that your mind becomes pure? So then you can approach Lord Shiva, consciousness itself. May the world, may the ancestors, Brahma, way of truth. These two paths are available to us. And this is metaphor. It's mystic symbolism. All right, we need to stop. What verse are we on for next week?
We're gonna continue on 13.
Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om.